Hey, sixth graders, welcome to sixth grade English. We are going to be doing this online for a little while, so let's go ahead and get started. The last time we had English together, we talked about reflexive nouns, and I'm sure that you guys all remember that 100%, but let's go ahead and review what they are. Reflexive nouns always end in what? Self. That's right. Self. They also always have an antecedent. They always refer to the subject. So, in this sentence, the reflexive noun, you guessed it, is himself, and it refers to he. Let's do a couple other reviews. If you are following along, you can kind of guess along with me. All right, so what will be the subject in this sentence? The subject is we, and the reflexive pronoun is ourselves. Now, let's talk about this sentence. Have you asked yourself that yet? What would be the reflexive pronoun? Well, yourself ends in self, and yourself is referring to you. You. What have you asked yourself that yet? Well, hopefully you've been asking yourself, what is an interrogative pronoun? I'm sure that that has definitely been on your mind lately. Interrogative. Do you guys feel like that word is maybe familiar to you? Well, interrogative is a type of sentence that asks a question, and that's going to be pertinent to today's lesson. An interrogative pronoun also asks a question. However, it does not have an antecedent, and that is important to remember. If you're maybe following along in your English book, we are on page 163, and you can see that a lot of this stuff is in the blue box on top of the guided practice. So, just to review really quickly, an interrogative pronoun asks a question, and it does not have an antecedent. Interrogative pronouns are almost always the following, but they have different uses. What, which, who, whom, and whose. What, which, who, whom, and whose. So, let's think about these sentences. Who will reign forever? Obviously, the interrogative pronoun, you're probably thinking, wow, this is super easy. You gave us 5 words to remember, and we have to pick these out of sentences. Well, it's not going to be that easy. But who is the interrogative pronoun in this sentence? Jesus, who is Lord and Savior, will reign forever. Who is also the interrogative pronoun in that sentence? Notice that who is the subject in these sentences. Now, also one thing to remember, one thing I forgot to point out. Sorry. This sentence, this is an interrogative pronoun because it asks a question. In this sentence, it's not an interrogative pronoun because it does not ask a question. You can see who in any sentence, and it can even be the subject. But if it does not ask a question, it is not an interrogative pronoun. So this is actually not an interrogative pronoun. No. This is an example of an interrogative pronoun. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Which, what, and whose. These are going to be acting as adjectives, not pronouns. Now, let's look at these words. Which, what, and whose. They act as adjectives, not pronouns. When they come before a noun and they ask a question. Which book is yours? Which book is yours? This word is coming before a noun and it's asking a sentence, okay? So, which, it's before a noun, and it asks a question. What time is it? Whose jacket is this? These are all coming before a noun in a question. That is acting as an adjective, not a pronoun when they precede a noun. Use who as a subject or predicate noun. So basically, this is talking about the difference between who and whom. Whom is not to be used as a subject. Who is a subject, all right? It can also be a predicate noun. We know that predicate nouns can be easily confused with predicate adjectives, and who and whom is a hot topic in the grammar department. Whom is a direct object, an indirect object, or an object of a preposition. Now, BJU Press does give you a trick. I use trick with quotation marks maybe up in the air because I'm not sure it's totally helpful. So let's look at it this way. All right. In your sentences, you're used to diagramming sentences. You can have a subject, and you can also have a predicate. All right. Who is almost always on this side. They want who to be over here. Whom is over here on this side for the most part. This is a very generic explanation of this. So, who, whom. That doesn't mean that whom cannot be at the beginning of a sentence. Whom can still be at the beginning of a sentence. That's not what I'm saying. But who and whom, who is a subject or predicate noun. Okay? Whom is a direct object, indirect object, or object preposition. Okay? Whom is not a subject. So, whom did Rob ask? You can also replace these with a sentence. You can put in him or he. You can change the question to him or he. That's BJU Press's little trick to help you. So, instead of saying whom did Rob ask, Rob asked him. That's how you can tell if it's whom or he. Who did Rob ask? Well, Rob asked he. So, one way of determining whether or not to use whom or he is to change the question to a statement and replace the word whom or who with him or he. And if it's correct with the pronoun him, then you would use whom. If it's correct with the pronoun he, you would use who. So what they're saying and what I'm saying to you is, if this is correct, you would be able to use he. If this is correct, you would be able to use him. It's a little bit more confusing to me to look at it this way, and I think that you might get a little tripped up this way. So, for example, who is that man? Well, that man is he. That does not necessarily make sense to me personally. However, what does make sense is knowing the grammatical, I'm making that word up, the grammatical reasoning behind this. Who is a subject or predicate noun? Whom is a direct object, indirect object, or object of a preposition. So if you need help, go back to the definitions. If this trick works for you, that's really great. And I'm really happy for you. Your assignment for Thursday is to complete page 164. And I am also going to help you complete the guided practice, page 163. We are going to start going over it right now. In the guided practice today, we are going to be on page 163 once again, and I'm going to go over some of the guided practice with you. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to go over all of it. And then you're going to be responsible for doing page 164 and taking a picture of it to turn it in somehow. And you just have to do that just with all of the normal assignments by midnight Sunday. You don't have to do the guided practice. I do recommend it, and I recommend listening to it, maybe trying to do it before you see me go over it so you can know if you know this. You should do the guided practice before you see me give you the answers. It's guided. You need to do it before you see the answers. That's my advice. Do with it what you will. So, number 1 on page 163 again, what is the problem? So they want you to find the interrogative pronoun in each sentence. Well, that's pretty easy because we already know what they are. What is the problem? Number 2, who received the highest grade? Well, where's the interrogative pronoun? Who? Interrogative pronouns, once again, they're what, which, who, whom, and whose. Well, who's right here? Who knows something about Spain, Italy, and Greece? That section's pretty straightforward. It's not going to, give you a lot of difficulty. And there's obviously the same section, not the exact same section, but the same section based off of this section on page 164. So there's another section, 7 through 9, and they want you to write an interrogative pronoun to complete each sentence. Who is your best friend is what I wrote, and what is your favorite game? You could have also put, for number 7 and 8, which is your best friend, or which is your favorite game? And I should have put a question mark right here, but I did not. Now, I didn't write the sentences out for these because I'm probably going to be discussing them a lot, because I think this is going to be the most difficult section, the who versus whom dilemma. Now, number 10, who was the ruler of Italy in the 1920s? So it would be who because you're talking about a subject. Who was the ruler of Italy in the 1920s? Well, you wouldn't say whom because the who, that's the subject. Number 11, the people served whom? So whom, it's going to be whom because it's not a subject and it's actually going to be a direct object. The people served, well, who did the people serve? Served is the verb referring to whom? It's a direct object. Number 12, to whom should Daniel send the message? This is actually a difficult one. To whom is not the subject. This is not the subject, even though it's the beginning of the sentence, so they want you to think it's the subject. But Daniel is actually he's directing out the verb, so Daniel would be sending the message, and that's going to be the subject. So, whom is going to be it, and I don't know why I'm underlining these, maybe just for fun. 13, the prince gave whom the Medal of Honor? So, the prince gave whom the Medal of Honor? It's a direct object. This doesn't sound like something we would say this day and age. That's why it sounds incorrect. Every year I teach this, it's like, well, that sounds incorrect. Well, that's because we don't talk like this anymore. 14, who should attend the banquet next week? Who is the subject, and that's why it would be who. 15, whom did mother call? Mother is actually the subject. Mother's doing the action, and that would refer to whom. So whom is going to be the last answer. And do not forget to do page 164, and please turn it in somehow. Have a great day.